the permissions when we do that. It's much appreciated. All right, so it is now noon, so we will be getting started right around now. So just give me a second to set up here. Okay. Okay, everyone can see that? All right. So it is now noon and I am a big fan of starting on time because I believe early bird gets the worm. So thank you so much for being here. We actually have another 30 people RSVP'd, so they'll probably start trickling in through the door, so you can kind of ignore them as they come in. However, welcome to CSUDH's participation in the Worldwide Teach-In for Climate Justice. My name is Ellie Perry. I'm the CSUDH Sustainability Manager, and I manage the Office of Sustainability. And have many staff with me here today supporting the event. And I'm also going to be emceeing or facilitating this educational event for you all. In terms of understanding the agenda for today, we'll have several guest speakers, as you probably saw from the flyer, who I'll be introducing and calling up when it's their turn to come up. Also keep your phones nearby. Don't pull them out yet, but we will be playing a Kahoot game after Dr. Hall's presentation, so the second presentation. So get ready to win some prizes. We actually have these nice reusable utensils, and it's open to people on Zoom too. So we'll make sure that if you are playing remotely and you win, we'll find a way to get that to you as well. So, so I guess with that, we'll go ahead and get started by calling up our first panelist, as well as the person who's going to intro the Worldwide Teach-In for Climate Justice and explain a little bit more about what it is. So Roy, if you wanted to come up to the podium, podium's all yours.
Good afternoon and welcome everybody. Today we're going to talk about some basics. Most of you, I know you know about the basics. However, it's good to talk about it because the concept of this worldwide teaching is make sure that grassroots works, because all the studies shows that when people are active, they can have good impact on the government decision, and their activity is important too. All of us know, we know that what is global warming, why our globe is warm, because the radiation comes from sun, hit the earth, and then is the short length wave, so it can pass the atmosphere around the globe. However, when hit the earth, is gonna be long length wave, and then what's gonna happen cannot go out, because when it's a long wave, then it cannot pass the CO2 and other. How can I point? Okay, it's a mouse here. Other greenhouse gases that we say GHG, then around the Earth is going to be hot. Let me see if I can go to online and show you the global warming index. As you see here, we are getting warmer. Every second we are getting warmer and warmer. So this is a situation, and why? Then, oh, I close my, okay. And why global warming is bad? Because here, can we get rid of this one or no? We are getting, you see here that we are getting warmer and warmer. This graph shows that this blue one is the natural and regular getting warmer there in the earth, but this graph shows the human-induced warming, and you see it that we are getting warmer very fast. Before we go further, I want to one more time repeat the difference between global warming and climate change. I want to emphasize that we know that climate change is the result of global warming, because some people that they are in denial of they are a denier of global warming, they take advantage of these two different names. I highlighted cold to show it that when we say global warming, that doesn't mean that every point of the earth is getting warmer. We're going to have excessive cold that exactly is the result of being warmer. So I'm sorry, our problem is not two problems that we are getting cold and hot. We are getting hot, and because of that, we have excessive heat and excessive cold. And this is the list of some important GHG, greenhouse gases, that can cause global warming. And why global warming is bad? Because it's going to hurt our life and all species' life. These three pictures are the pictures in the US. You remember those people that live in California, remember 2018, and this is Hurricane Harvey in Texas, and this is in New Orleans, and we see it more and more, unfortunately, in the future. And food scarcity, potable water scarcity, and refugees, and all this problem around the world is going to be result of global warming. And it's good to talk about the injustice of global warming. Unfortunately, global warming hit the low-income communities and developing countries worse than the other. People here, you see the Sri Lanka, and here I believe it's Thailand, that they lost. So the concept of climate justice and environmental justice is something that is very hot, and we are discussing. All the scientists, they are discussing it, is very important. Another issue is, because I want to be fast and don't go more than 15 minutes of my time, I'm going to only touch some important. So we talk about GHG, greenhouse gases. Right now, I want to talk about the waste. We are making too much waste. Human being is bad to making waste. I believe the waste that we are making is 2 million ton, 2 billion, I'm sorry, with B, per year. We are only 7.9 billion people, and we are making 2 billion ton of waste each year. That they are too much. What we do with this waste, that all of them that cause a problem in the environment, we have three options. Either we put it in landfills or incinerators that we are burning the waste, or recycling. If you put it in a landfills, the option is this one. You see that landfills usually, they produce methane. That methane is very dangerous for our health. Plus, when we put in landfills, although we protect it, and there is a system to protecting, however, the waters in surface, we are contaminating the water. As you see here, the third problem of landfills is that one come back to our life, so it's dangerous. The other option is burning waste. A lot of studies show that the burning, when we burn it, 30% of the harmful material stays. So this 30% is gonna hurt our lives. And this slide is for medical waste, because medical waste are among the most dangerous waste. I'm not gonna go to the detail, but only mention it that we don't have a good option for our waste. So the best thing is to reduce waste. The third option is recycling. I brought only one slide to show that we are not good in recycling. This is a plastic that we are using. Unfortunately, in the US, we are only recycling 10% of the plastic that we are making. So recycling, so the best suggestion is reduce waste instead of recycling, although we are not good in recycling too. So to important issue I mentioned in this slide. It was GHG production as well as waste. So yes, 2.01, the number that billion tons that we are making. So according to UN, we're gonna have 10 billion, we're gonna be 10 billion by 2050. So you can imagine how much waste. If we go with the same rate that we are doing it, you can guess how much we're gonna make. The prediction is 3.4 billion metric tons. Who is responsible? The answer is everybody. This is the list of 5 countries that they are making too much GHG, greenhouse gases, and you see our country is the second one. So we are responsible for it. And if you don't care, our government doesn't care, and then the situation is going to be worse and worse. Right now, we want to know how sustainable development can help to prevent environmental degradation. As you know, when we prevent too much GHG, so the heat of the globe is going to be less and the disasters is going to be less. And there is several studies that shows many small daily actions have significant impact on the environment. This is very important. I think it's 2 issues. First, our small actions are important. Maybe before we didn't think about it, say, oh, I am 1% and how much it's going to be. But 1%, 7.9 billion people is going to be a lot. Plus, when you care about the environment, your representative care about it. They know. As you know, any election, the big discussion is about the economy and job. Why? Because people care about job. So if people care about environment, they think about it. And this is the reason for this event. The event is based on these studies that we know that grassroots actions are important. So I'm going to show you 1 minute video so you get familiar with this worldwide climate teach-in and know your responsibility and your role. So all of you guys, anytime I have a class, my student talk to me that we didn't know is very important to recycle even 1 bottle of water. So the point that we have this event is this one, that I'm sure those people that they come to this meeting, usually they are environmental concern. And the point is this one, we don't need to be environmental experts. As long as we care about environment, we care about the health of our kids, we can help. And here I brought for the sustainable development, there is a short video that shows how we can do it. That shows the feasibility of
In a typical year, hundreds of thousands of people attend the WM Phoenix Open Golf Tournament. It's one of the largest spectator events in the country. But here's the cool part. From this massive event, not a single scrap of waste ends up in a landfill. How is that possible? Through a process that makes sure all materials go to their next best use. It's called zero waste. Here's how it works. Let's take this cup. Most cups like this are made from polystyrene foam, but this one is made from sugarcane fiber, cornstarch, and recycled fiber. And because there are no trash cans at a zero waste event, once this cup is used, it gets tossed into a compost bin. The bins are emptied and all the stuff in them gets sorted, measured, and documented. As you can imagine, This part of the process involves some cool technology and a lot of dedicated people. Everything that's thrown away by all those thousands of people is repurposed in one of four ways: recycling, composting, donation, energy recovery. All the event vendors and partners follow sustainability requirements to make sure packaging, food service, signage, operations, decor, and more can all be used again. And just to make sure WM really hits that zero waste standard, a third party validates the entire process. So is all this effort really worth it? In 2020, the WM Phoenix Open recycled 62.5% of its waste, composted 22.5%, donated 2.2%, and sent 12.8% to energy recovery. From an event attended by almost 1 million people. This means about 988 tons of materials were diverted and 421 metric tons of greenhouse gases were kept out of the atmosphere. That's amazing. And the good news is you can make a difference in your own business, home, or community by using sustainable products and by making sure to recycle right. This incredible zero waste process improves each year and is raising the sustainability standard for events everywhere. And that's why today's zero waste process will help make tomorrow even better.
So that it is possible that we can do something about the job, and because it's only 1 minute, I'm going to show you the worldwide teaching.
Your worldwide teaching will mobilize the power of educators and students and empower a generation of fighting to stabilize the climate and justice.
We all need to get comfortable talking about climate all the time. The teaching helps us do that.
The worldwide teaching is a call to organize events on campus or community on or around 29th, 2023.
The key to successful teaching is to have more local educators who involve directly from your school or community, the more people that
They will do this gladly because they are really worried about climate change. It's like you.
Our team is here to support you, but you have to step forward. Join us.
Thank you. I hope
Your worldwide teaching will mobilize the power of educators and
you for your time, and I give good luck to Dr. Paul Weitzman. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Roya. And I'll get the screen set up for our next speaker, Jenny Hall. So she makes her way up here, and we'll make sure her PowerPoint is loaded. So we're good to go. There you go.
Hello, so I'm Jenny Hall and I teach environmental studies here and interdisciplinary studies. And I'm going to talk about how CSUDH students are changing urban food systems. So going off of what Roya said about what the problems are, is we want to talk about what our greenhouse gas emissions are and where they're coming from and how we can reduce them. So if we look at overall global greenhouse gas emissions by economic sector, you can see that the largest portion of the greenhouse gas emissions are coming from electricity and heat production. But what is a very close second to that is agriculture and other land use practices. And that's at 24%. So this goes down to how we feed ourselves. But how we feed ourselves isn't just about how we produce food and the land use that we have. It also has to do with how we're processing food, how we're transporting it, how we're storing it, and all of our distribution systems that come with it. So if we look at this graph, we can see that the other parts of the sectors are also included with how we feed ourselves. So we need to be able to look at the whole picture of how all these things are coming together in the way that we get food from the production to your table. So looking at it in more detail then, if we look at overall food and climate change relationships, then we see that if we group everything else that's non-food related emissions together and look at all the different ways of how we're producing food and those emissions, we see that it's not just the production of food and the land use, but we're also putting processing, transport, packaging, all the retail that goes involved with it, and then also our waste streams. So the waste streams, again, like was previously said, are incredibly important because as we throw those things into the landfill, then especially for food, as it's decomposing, then it's going to create methane, which is, of course is a powerful greenhouse gas. And in that, when we're looking at processing, transportation, packaging, all of that, about 20% of the total of the food systems comes from what we calculate as global food miles. So that's how far away is your food coming from. So we're looking at that in terms of if you can grow strawberries in your backyard, then why would you buy them from hundreds or even thousands of miles away? Another aspect of this is all the food that we grow isn't for human consumption directly. A large portion of it goes into livestock farming. And this graph here is just looking particularly at cattle, overall the cattle industry. But if we look at all the different feed that we grow or the grain stocks, we have corn, like global corn production, global wheat production, global soy production is really important in this as well, and global rice production. The blue in there is the cattle feed. Of all of the food that's grown, all of the corn that's grown, we see that 59% of it is grown to be able to feed cattle directly. This isn't including pigs, chickens, sheep, all different types of fish farming, other types of livestock. But if we look at overall the impact of the greenhouse gases from livestock farming directly, we see that most of the large portion of it is coming from the feed production. And again, that's including all different types of livestock. But a lot of different animals, the way that they're digesting is also going to produce greenhouse gases. So digestive processes, particularly in ruminant animals, is also producing greenhouse gases like methane. We also have to process all of that meat. We have to store it, we have to transport it. So there's this huge industry that goes into it. And then of course, there's all the waste products of that. So storage of manure, the processing of manure also adds to that as well. So there's a concentrated amount of greenhouse gases that is coming from our livestock farming. So we're looking here at millions of metric tons of carbon on the y-axis, and then we just have time on the bottom. And just looking at this from 1900, and this only goes to 2014, we're looking at our overall increase of emissions. And we see there's a steady rise up until about 1950. And then after that, the rise starts to increase more rapidly. And this is interesting to say that this is based on behavioral changes. So overall, from our anthropogenic carbon dioxide emissions or overall greenhouse gas emissions, that we started to change our behavior around 1950. So this is post-World War II, pre-World War, or pre the end of World War II and post-World War II, globally, we all started to behave differently. And we started to behave differently in terms of using a lot more energy, also building a tremendous amount of infrastructure. A lot of that is just measured by looking at things like cement production, but the incredible amount of infrastructure that we built from there, again, started to rise really rapidly, starting around the 1950s. And then also the production of fossil fuels started to increase. So we had to meet those energy needs, meet all of those needs for infrastructure growing. And in that, there's this process called flaring that's part of that production. So the reason why I point this out is that we had a major behavioral change, right? And unfortunately, it's been accelerating for the last 70 years. But the interesting part about that is that what that means is that when we change our behavior, then there's also this possibility of decreasing the amount of emissions as well. These are all things that are behavioral based. So what are we doing here at CSUDH to be able to address these issues and to be able to make meaningful changes into our systems that are producing these greenhouse gases? So one of them is that we're producing food locally. And so here we see a couple of different examples of that, where we have our campus urban farm. That's where we have the little cages on the raised boxes. And then this is a picture of another farm that is a community partner with us. This is Mudtown Farm over in Watts. But we also have many other different partners. So there's lots of other community farms here that we support, and we support them with in lots of different ways. But this means that students and faculty are not only making these, producing food on campus, but then going out and supporting these other local farms and producing food within our communities. So we're all working together to make this whole system change, not only on campus, but also in the surrounding community. The other thing is supporting a plant-rich diet. So if we don't have access to lots of fresh foods, then processed foods, and again, a heavy meat-based diet tends to have a lot more emissions associated with it. But if you're producing things locally, and especially plant-based foods, then that's going to reduce the overall emissions that are associated, again, with how we're feeding ourselves. But that's difficult to do in certain areas. So we have to develop these supporting systems that really let other people around in the community have access to fresh produce. So here we have an example of course, we have the Tuesday Farmers Market, where there's lots of vendors that come in that have lots of great fruits and vegetables. And we're also donating the things that we're growing on the farm. This is on Fridays is the Mudtown Farm food giveaway. So all the produce that they're producing there, they're giving away. And it's just, bring your own shopping bag and to be able to fill things up and get things for free. And then here's another food event. This is the Watts Labor Community Action Committee. And here's some of our College Corps interns that are working there at this food distribution event. And again, just making sure that in the community, lots of local fresh fruits and vegetables are readily available to the community to be able to support a plant-rich diet. The other thing then again, of course, is food waste reduction. And so we're developing these networks of collecting food and being able to put that into streams where the food doesn't go to waste. And again, this is really important not to have it go to the landfill, because then that is going to decompose and produce more methane that's going to contribute to the overall climate change. So building out these systems, not only on campus, but and throughout the rest of our communities is really important. So we have here the picture of our beautiful new Toro pantry that is down on the second floor of the library. And all of the food that is there is donated from local communities that would otherwise, most of it be going to waste. And then here we have, again, Watts Labor Community Action Committee. They have they're partnering with grocery stores, they're partnering with restaurants, with overall producers, and all the things that otherwise, again, would go into the waste stream is diverted and then sent to these different distribution events where the food is given away for free. And then here we have our lovely sustainable coordinator, Scarlett, who is showing here one of our food recovery bags. And another one of our interns, Skip, is very active in this area as well. So that events like this on campus, where you have food in an event, you have a meeting, there's something going on, that any food that's left over from that event gets collected and then distributed out to campus for free. And again, it's just another way of building a system to be able to divert things from, instead of going into waste, that we're making good use of all of our resources. And then we have composting. That's not everybody's favorite, but it's a really important part of reducing overall emissions. So here on campus, We have compost bins and composting that happens over at the urban farm. And then also we work with our community partners as well, with our surrounding community farms, to be able to develop community composting systems. And so here, of course, we have like some wasted food that's going to go into our system, and we're going to be able to create soil and then be able to use that to grow more food. So just creating these sustainable systems, again, where we're diverting that away from the landfill and then creating sustainable systems where we're able to then create more food. And then here we have Teddy Toro, of course, in the middle, and we have these new waste sorting systems, waste collection. And we have the compost on there as well. So now that we're going to zero waste on campus, then we're able to take, collect all of the compost on campus and be able to send that out for composting as well. So again, we're doing composting on campus, we're doing composting at our community partner farms, and then also sending out collecting and sending out our compost on campus for larger scale composting systems. So all of the different things that we're doing here, we're trying to avoid the catastrophic consequences of climate change. And again, collectively within the campus, collectively with our community partners, that we're working together to be able to grow food in urban environments. So we're not having it come from outside and shipping it in from far away. We're developing these community food distribution and also food recovery networks where we're able to get that food out to the people who need it, support plant-based diets, and of course, diverting that away from the waste stream. We're doing other things like building seed banks, planting food trees, again, off campus, on campus, building healthy soils by using compost and building sustainable systems for that, and ultimately building climate resilient landscapes as well. And all of these different efforts that we're doing are going to continue to increase. We've done a tremendous amount of work already, but these are systems that are continuing to be built to transform the system that we currently have. And in that, as we're changing our behavior, we're going to be able to continue to reduce our overall impact with emissions. So overall, thank you very much, and I'll turn that back over to Ellie.
Thank you, Jenny. And now it's audience participation time. I hope you were paying attention to our first two guest speakers, because we are now going to play that Kahoot I was mentioning, and all of the correct answers are actually based on the information provided in those first two presentations. So if you want to get your mobile phones ready to scan, or if you've got a laptop, maybe you'll enter the page in. We'll open up the area for you now. And Scarlett, the screen shares. Okay, so if you never played Kahoot before, you can scan the QR code on your phone, it'll send you to the landing page, and you can just enter the game pin that's listed here. Game pin is 7516084, and then it'll enable you to join. Oh, and we got our first people coming in. I'll give you a few minutes to patch in. And as a reminder for the prize, the top 3 winners do get this lovely reusable utensil set, which you can hopefully use for lunch later. If you're on Zoom, you're still eligible too. We'll just, Scarlett will be messaging you to get your email so we can coordinate when you can come and pick up. And again, if you've never played Kahoot before, the way that it works, it values speed. So you definitely want to respond as soon as you know the answer. And it also rewards correctness. So make sure that you're, fast, but that you're accurate. And essentially it tabulates that, so the people who are the fastest and the most accurate for the 12 questions that are coming up, it'll auto tally to let us know who the top 3 performers are. And that's how we'll give those prizes. So as we're letting last few people in, we'll get started in the next 10 seconds here. So again, if you are interested in playing, make sure you're logging in, ready to go. Is anyone struggling, by the way, or are we? Okay, I'll give you another couple seconds. And if you're on Zoom already, it's pretty easy because you probably have good internet. So, got it loaded. Okay, last minute call for anyone who wants to log in. And then we will get started in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're starting. Oh, last person. Okay. All right, get ready, guys. So as soon as I start, we're gonna start with the first question. Right, First question, what is the country's largest emitter of carbon dioxide, CO2? Okay, that's 6 seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right, and most of you got that correct. The answer is China. All right, next question. Okay, so calculating who's in the lead. Sorry, Mateo up in the top, but we got a close race here, so get in there. So question number 2 coming up in 3, 2, 1. Okay, next question. How much of the Earth's surface is covered by fresh water? 17 seconds. Okay, 5 seconds. All right, correct answer is 2.5%. All right, recalculating. All right, we got some new leaders. So anyone's game though. Okay, moving on to the next question. What are the 3 main areas of sustainability? Green questions, profit, safety, planet. All right, so the correct answer is the red question. So we will see how that changes the scoreboard based on that. And it looks like we got a new leader. Up 8 places, Kira is the highest climber. All right, next question. When was the World Earth Day first celebrated? And seconds left. All right, so the correct answer was 1970. Yeah, that affects our scoreboard. All right, Kat's still in the lead, but there's people close behind. All right, moving on to the next question. Take a breath. Which country produces the most plastic pollution in the world? All right, correct answer is United States. All right. More movement in the scoreboard. Okay, next question. 6 of 12, halfway there. How long does it take nature to decompose glass? Five seconds. All right, correct answer is up to 5,000 years. So we'll see how that changes the scoreboard. All right, Eric in the lead. Okay, getting into the last half, so keep your trigger fingers on your phones. Next question, 7 of 12. Which of these is not renewable energy? Got your options up there. Okay, 3 seconds left. Correct answer is natural gas is not renewable energy. See how that affects the scoreboard here. All right, a few changes. Still anyone's game. Okay, next question, 8 of 12. Which of the following is not among the UN SDGs? 3 seconds left. And the correct answer is GDP is not a UN Sustainable Development Goal. All right, Philip in the lead for in the honor scoreboard. So getting into our last few questions here. So last chance to push up your score. Question 9 of 12. Industrial agriculture is a major contributor to climate change. True or false? Three seconds. Okay, well, you got that right, correct? It is true that industrial agriculture is a major contributor to climate change. All right, see our new scoreboard. All right, little movement there, still a tight race. Okay, question 10. Food waste thrown in landfills emits what type of greenhouse gas? Ten seconds. The correct answer is methane. Same leaders, a little bit of movement. All right, getting close to the end here. 11 of 12. Which of these helps to avoid the most catastrophic effects of climate change? All right, all of these. Scoreboard, got some movement there, and reminder, the top 3 win a prize. So want to make sure you get in there. All right, last chance, question number 12, last one. Which sector of the economy produces the most anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions? Yeah, 3 seconds. All right, and the correct answer was electricity and heat production. So let's see who our winners are. Top 3. Got Josh, Vince, and in first place, Philip. All right, congratulations to our winners. If you're in the audience, can you raise your hand so I know who to hand the utensils to? Okay, I got your faces down. You'll be receiving this nice reusable utensil kit to use during lunch today. So congratulations on your speedy responses. So got for our winners. So I'll close that out and we will actually be moving on to our final presentation today, which is Menda. So if you want to come up to the podium, I will get your final presentation loaded up right now. Drag it out of the way.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Meghna Singhvi. I'm a professor over here. I teach accounting and business. And so you can imagine all I think about every single day is how businesses make money, how they make money for shareholders, and what is actually the contribution of business to society. So that's my presentation on a company called Patagonia. How many of you have heard of it? Wonderful, wonderful. So Patagonia has a unique dedication to sustainability, and that's why I chose them for my presentation. This is the true cost of fashion. I know this is a very difficult image, but the fast fashion retailers are pushing consumers like you and me to buy more and to buy again and again, and offering deep discounts to lure customers like you and me. Most of those items that we might be thinking go into recycling do not go through the entire process of recycling and end up in places like Africa. This, I will tell you, does anyone know the location? Which country this is in Africa? Okay. Here is an example of a fast fashion retailer that is contributing to this kind of a damage to the environment. Zara sells 450 million garments per year. That's about, they come up with 20,000 styles per year. So basically the designer thinks of the idea, sketches it out, and in 3 weeks, the clothes are in all Zara stores all across the world. That's considered fast fashion retail. If you are a Zara shopper, you're probably going to enter the store 17 times in 1 year, which is 4 times more than you would in a regular clothing store. 4 times more. They have tapped into the distinct pleasure our brain stimulates when we see a discount. The fashion industry produces more than 100 billion apparel items per year. That's about 14 garments per human being on our planet. What happens when we throw away our garments? Actually, there are people impacted, and you and I may never meet them, but they are mostly women. And it's very, very difficult to do this kind of a job, to sort out clothes all day for 10 hours a day, for 10 hours in a day, in 38-degree Fahrenheit temperature, wearing these kind of clothing that they are wearing. So women are negatively impacted in some other part of the world that you may never encounter. This is where a lot of the clothing items end up. This is Ghana in Africa. Around 40% of the clothes received by traders never find a second buyer. And so where do they end up? In the landfill or in the ocean. This is again a very difficult image, but this is the true cost of fashion, especially fast fashion. This is the impact. This is their impact on the environment. 85% of textiles end up in landfills or are incinerated. Fashion industry, just the fashion industry, contributes about 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions, more than shipping and aviation combined. And garments, they're very difficult to recycle because they are often not just composed of one material. They have multiple materials embedded in one piece of a garment. So it's a very complex process. Here's the good news. There are some businesses that have recognized that the world cannot go on like this. We cannot leave our future generations in a devastating situation. So we have businesses that realize the problem and have been the solution for a few years. One such company is Patagonia. This is their slogan. This is their motto. Earth is our only shareholder. This is what they sell. You may have seen a lot of people in finance and accounting wear these Patagonia vests. Annual revenue of about $1 billion in each of the years from 2017 to 2020. They donate 1% of their sales. Their CEO says that climate ecological crisis is an existential threat to humanity, and it's our own creation. So what have they been doing? For decades, they've been using good recycled material to make their products. They always pay fair wages to their factory workers. They donate 1% of their sales. The current CEO really had no idea what he would do as a job. He studied finance at UNC Charlotte and then got a business degree at Florida Institute of Technology. In 1996, he was working as a server in one of the restaurants. He just had a passion for skiing, and that's how he stumbled upon Patagonia. And today he rose up the ranks, and today is the leader. The person on the bottom right is the founder of the company, Yvon Chouinard, and this is from his book. He has a book called Let My People Go Surfing. So basically, what does that mean? It means if you work for Patagonia, you don't have to say, hey, I'm going to take Tuesday off because I want to go surfing. Instead, you wake up in the morning and you check the weather, and if you feel it's going to be a great day to surf, you just say, I'm going to take the day off because this is the time to surf. So he lets his employees who are truly passionate about what they do run the business the way they want to without chaining them to a desk from 8:30 to 5:30. That's really not needed if your employee already is motivated to work for you, right? So Yvonne Chanat moved with his family. His dad was a French Canadian blacksmith. They moved to Southern California with little English and less money. Today, his company earns more than 230 million. This was years ago when he came out with this book. That time the revenue was around 230 million. It's one of the most environmentally responsible corporations on the planet. This is an amazing story of a young man who found escape by scaling the world's highest peaks. He's actually a climber himself. Of an innovator who used his father's tools to fashion equipment that changed climbing forever. And for the entrepreneur who brought doing good and having a blast into the heart of business like no other. So he says that a business is actually for profit, purpose, and the planet. So a business should have a purpose. It should make a profit, but it should also serve the planet. Guess what? In 2022, he made a huge announcement. A company that he built for 50 years, he gave it all away. That's about $3 billion. All of it lies today in a trust, which is going to support different charities across the world. This company is based in Ventura, California. This was one of their campaigns, which was a successful campaign in Europe, where they worked with NGOs and grassroots activists to protect wild rivers from some hydropower projects. And this advocacy actually worked. This is one of the campaigns that was popular and came up in my research. They also have an initiative that if you buy Patagonia products, and if you're done with your Patagonia jacket, you can send it back to them, get a credit, maybe 50% or something, and then use that credit to buy another Patagonia jacket, or even, so basically they sell used clothing. So you can get credit for your old jacket if you send it back. That's what I understood from this Worn Wear program. So what can you and I do? Now that we know about this issue, what can we do going forward? For us and for our future generation. Let's make a commitment to sustainability. It's not a goal that we can achieve. It's really not. It's work, and it's going to be forever, for the rest of our lives. If you and I, want to avoid this, this is what we can do. We can reduce our consumption. We can keep using our old clothes for longer, and just remind yourself that every action you take, it matters. So the way I have summarized it in my head is buy less, buy better. If it's better quality, I know I'm going to use it for more than 5 years. I know I'm going to take care of it better. And wear longer. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Megna, and all of our guest speakers today. We do have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions. Does anyone in the in-person audience have any for our panelists they wanted to ask? Also, Scarlett, or if you're on the Zoom audience, if you want to type in a question in the chat, you've got like a minute or 2 to let us know. In the meantime, I'll go close this out. Okay. No questions? Okay, so I guess with that admin wise, we did promise you lunch. I didn't lie, it's outside. Before you go, I did want to mention that this recording will be uploaded to YouTube, so you can find it on our CSUDH Sustainability YouTube channel. If you want to look back at the recordings, all of the speakers that you saw today, we're all CSUDH employees, so you can actually look us up fairly easily if you want to follow up with any questions. And I hope that you learned something today and that you're a little motivated in terms of your personal life to kind of look at climate justice and think about ways that we can help fight global warming as a community. And want to thank you for coming today. For those of you on Zoom, thank you so much for attending. Really appreciate you being here. For those of you in person, the winners of our utensil set, if you can come up to me after we close so I can hand you your prizes. When you're outside, lunch will be actually served right in front of you. So as you go up, you can just help yourself to one of the plates, work your way down the line, and we're trying to save those 4 tables behind it for you to be able to sit down and enjoy your lunch. Today's lunch actually features ingredients from our campus urban farm. So our farm intern back there, Josh, harvested a lot of the produce that's in these dishes just a couple days ago, and our kitchen over with DH Catering prepped it into the meal that we'll be eating today. So enjoy that as a thank you for attending. And with that, oh, and also if you happen to have some time during lunch, Eric, our photographer, will be right in front of the backdrop, and we have our pledge boards now. So if you wanted to write a public commitment about how you want to fight climate change in your personal life, take a photo. He'll be taking professional photographs for you and uploading that to a Dropbox, so you can get a copy after this event as well. So feel free to swing by as part of lunch as a fun activity for you all. So I guess with that, thanks so much for coming, and we'll see you outside for lunch. Thanks, everyone.